The chains are broken. You are free to be a son and a daughter of the Almost High, to have access through Jesus Christ to the throne day and night. Welcome to the program You Are Royalty. My name is Gabriele Moosbauer and I'm your host. Welcome to another episode today. Yeah, hello. I'm so excited that you're joining us for another episode. And this one is going to be a very special one. In actual fact, we're going to have 2 episodes with the same name, Wonderfully Created. And we have a very, very special guest with us again, Dr. Franz-Josef Krämer. He was on before. I don't know if you remember it. Here he is. Yes, all the way from Germany. I'm in Germany at the moment. He has been... he will speak on the topic Wonderfully Created, and he is a senior software developer and consultant. He has a master in computer science from Germany and a master and a PhD in industrial and systems engineering from University of Florida in Gainesville. Isn't that something? And I just want to share that when we met in Full Gospel Businessman, it's a meeting that you call different in Germany, but I call it in the name that you're familiar with. We talked about our salvations. And I remember, Franz-Josef, when you said to me, when I was in Florida, it's the first time, did you hear it through television or through a friend, the gospel?
It was in a church.
In a church.
It was in an evangelical church, Pentecostal church. This was where I heard this the first time in a service where 3 Germans were visiting from Germany to the United States, and they were traveling through several churches. On the weekends, and then they were giving the testimonies of what God had done in East and West Germany to unite them together. It was that time that there was a reunification of Germany, and they talked about the wonders that were done and how peaceful it was, and how much prayer contributed to a very peaceful reunification of the 2 parts of the country that belong to each other. And so they talked about a personal God which is interested in each one of us and each personal lives. I thought before was that God is only interested in the big things and not in my small little life. And I found out that he's also interested in my life.
Oh, so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. And I just want to share in Luke 12:7, it says that every hair on our head is counted. Now, isn't that mind-blowing? He is interested in the little things. Can you imagine it? It's everything is mind-blowing. That's why it's supernatural God. And
I
that's why
even count the hairs on my head.
Yeah. I mean, you can try, but there's some people you don't have to count a lot, so that's good. That's cheating, right? So anyway, we really look forward to hear from you now. And the hope that I have for this program, and I'm so excited that we do 2 sessions about it so you can go more in depth. The hope that I have and the faith that I have for this program is that people who are out there who think they're just by accident out there, just a big bang or whatever. No. There is an intelligent design. There is a creator. And once you understand that there is a loving God and your origin, where you really came from, then you have a purpose in life and you're excited about life and you will not just throw your life away. I've worked in the emergency room. I've seen how people try to kill themselves, and I've seen the letters that they wrote at the end, And I want to speak to everybody who thinks they're worthless. And nobody knows if you go, if you come, and what you do. No, there's a God that loves you and that wants to have a relationship with you. And I just pray that those programs may really help you to understand, and especially for intellectual people that need more explanation. Please send this program all over the place to people who need it. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Franz-Josef Krämer, please, would you start what you prepared for us? Thank you.
I thank you for the opportunity to share. I first want to say that's really a topic that in my school education time and up until I heard it first in my studies in Florida, I really thought there is no alternative to how did we get here? Where did we come from as this Big Bang and the evolution over billions of years? And so it was a new thought. Although I was raised in the Catholic Church, I heard also the stories from the Bible and thought to myself, how can that be reconciled? And a lot of people, they try to symbolize this away and say, well, God is the controller of evolution or something like that. But you don't hear that in school or in science. You don't, and in biology or in history or like that. You don't hear that God is the one who created evolution. And I'd like to share from a psalm. Psalm 96, verse 5, for the Lord God is creator God. He is a creating God. So this is quite a difference. He's not a God who starts the Big Bang and leaves it that, but he is creating. He's creating from nothing, and he does it with a purpose. And there are three basic questions in life. Where do I come from? Why am I here? And where am I going? And the answers are quite different depending on your worldview. First off, you cannot prove if there was evolution or there was creation. You can find a lot of evidence. In the end, you have to decide for yourself, and it's a faith-based decisions. So if you end up saying, well, I believe in evolution, that is a belief. It is not a proof, it is a belief. And so God, he also wants you to have faith and a belief, but he is the God that created. That's my belief. So if you, and the answers to the questions, when you have evolution as your worldview, then you are the result of a random process. You evolved, and well, that's where you came from. And what you do is, why are you here? It's self-determined. You give yourself the purpose that you want. You're responsible to no one. And where you're going, well, it all pretty much all ends at your physical death. So if that is true, but if that is not true, and if there you have a creation, then where do you come from? Well, God created you through a lot of circumstances. Or of course, you can have the natural explanation, the biological reproduction through your father and mother. But in the end, God did the miracle of creating from cells a body that you now have, and you are able to listen to this talk. And why are you here? You find out. Well, he has a great purpose, and you'll turn to him, and you'll find out. And where are you going? Well, life does not end at physical death. It goes beyond that. So be in for a surprise if that's new to you, and I encourage you to listen further. Well, so that is the frame of this of these two sessions. The thing, so that you have to keep that in mind. So now you understand how important it is to dig deeper and to see what is behind all this and how can you substantiate all this. So there are, if everything goes well, there are some links that I sent that should be somewhere available in the description box or around this talk. And one of these links is creation.com. It's a free and wonderful collection of a lot of short explanation videos. It's all in English. And they also have a YouTube channel. And I looked through it, and I found one link where a chemist turns from evolution to creation, from atheism to creation, and he explains how that happened. And a lot of times in the education process, things are taken for granted, or they are statements, and this is another field, and you take it for a fact, and you don't ask because you're concentrated on another aspect of science, and you're expert in that part of science, but you're taking things as a fact which you don't verify for yourself or ask much for yourself. That's how he described how it was with him, and there's a parallel in my situation. I didn't even know that there was an alternative explanation until the time I heard of it, but I was open and looked further into it. I was so thrilled and rejoiced that to hear that, wow, evolution is not just a story or a nice description or something, or a figurative speech. No, it is real. It is the creation.
Can I just say something? You mean creation, not evolution, right? You mean creation.
Yeah.
Intelligent design. You're not talking about evolution. You said evolution just now.
Yeah. I heard, all I heard before was evolution, but to find out it was creation.
That's what I mean. Okay.
Oh, I hope I didn't miss say something here. Thank you for correcting if that's so. So with all that in mind, I'd like to go through some of the things. There is a link, evolutionfacts.com, a download of a book titled Evolution Cruncher. So it crunches evolution. And so you have the context of this. And in the 70s and 80s, there had been hundreds of public debates. They were arranged between evolutionary scientists and creation scientists. Hundreds of debates. And the creation scientists scored resounding victories. And the result was a few evolutionists would ever want again to debate. And so they retracted, and the topic is somehow they have a grab on the current universities and all that, and dissenting thoughts are immediately banned. So if a professor finds something that supports creationism and questions evolution, and he put it out in the public, he's lost his job. You can observe that a lot of times. So that's why you can take a look at yourself. Take a look yourself at these links, I wanted to start with some quotes. I have not memorized them, so please apologize if I read them off a printed page. It was because Darwinian theory broke man's link with God and set him adrift in a cosmos without purpose or end that its impact was so fundamental. No other intellectual revolution in modern times so profoundly affected the way men viewed themselves and their place in the universe. And this is from an evolutionist, Michael Denton, A Theory in Crisis. That's in his book there. And another one, unfortunately, in the field of evolution, most explanations are not good. As a matter of fact, they hardly qualify as explanations at all. They are suggestions, hunches, pipe dreams, hardly worthy of being called hypotheses. That is what an evolutionist says. And his name is Norman Macbeth. And the title of his book is Darwin Retried from 1971. Another one, no one has ever found an organism that is known not to have parents or a parent. This is the strongest evidence on behalf of evolution. So it all has to be a start. So if there was a start from a big bang, how can you have an organism not having a parent? So you have to start with a parent. So how does that form? So if that's the strongest evidence on behalf of evolution, well, ask yourself how strong that evidence is. It holds almost nothing. Then another evolutionist, Robert Jastrow, The Enchanted Loom, Mind in the Universe, is his book title, says, scientists have no proof that life was not the result of an act of creation. Think about that. That says an evolutionist. And further, H. Lipson, a physicist, looks at evolution. That's the title of his book. He writes, evolution became, in a sense, a scientific religion. Almost all scientists have accepted it, and many are prepared to bend their observations to fit in with it.
That's it.
So it's not a neutral science that they do. So they do a science that they are bending their observations to fit their worldview and not let their worldview be framed from their observations. So that's I think I almost leave it with that for the quotes. You can find more quotes in the link that is posted, and you can the names of the authors, the books are mentioned, the year, so you can and the page. You can verify this yourself, and you can have your own further study. And now, how about the scientists of the past? Sorry, I lost the track of time. How far are we into the session?
I will just interject something. Is that okay for a moment?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
just say, last time when we had the other program, maybe you could repeat a little bit, if it's possible, just some facts why it's absolutely impossible to believe in evolution, why it's absolute bizarre to believe it,
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Just
Sorry,
a few
I
words.
I have a lot I have a lot coming.
Yeah.
And first, I want to show that there are a lot of scientists that were creationists. A lot,
Oh.
and even also during or after Darwin's time. But I'd like to mention a few creationists. Charles Babbage. He invented actuarial tables, calculating machines, and he did the foundations in computer science. He lived 1792 to 1871. He was a creationist. Francis Bacon, he introduced the scientific method of research. Robert Boyle, he introduced chemistry and gas dynamics. And Sir David Brewster, he introduced optical mineralogy. Georges Cuvier, he had comparative autonomy and vertebrate paleontology. So all are creationists. Sir Humphrey Davy, thermokinetics. Jean Henry Fabre, entomology of living insects. Michael Faraday. Faraday is maybe a known name. Electric generator, electromagnetics, field theory, also creationist, all creationists. Sir John Fleming, electronics and thermic valve. Joseph Henry, electric motor, galvanometer, all creationists. Sir William Herschel, galactic astronomy, double stars. James Joule, you have heard the measure, reversible thermodynamics. Lord William Kelvin, absolute temperature scale, energetics, thermodynamics, transatlantic cable, all creationists. Johannes Kepler, celestial mechanics, amperic tables, physical astronomy. Carolus Linnaeus, classification system, systematic biology. So all are, and there are many more, Isaac Newton, Louis Pasteur, John Rayleigh. So I could go on, but this should suffice to say that there is a lot of scientists that were explicit creationists. And now, do you have like the minutes? How many minutes we have in the first session again?
You have another 5 minutes.
Okay. Then
apologize. I want to close the door quick.
So-called proofs that were introduced to prove that the evolution is true. There was the Nebraska man in 1922 and 1928. 1922, a singular molar tooth was found and named Hesperopithecus, or Nebraska man. An artist was told to make an ape-man picture based on the tooth, which went around the world. Nebraska man was a key evidence at the Scopes trial in July 1925. The evolutionists had little else to offer, and Crafton Smith, one of those involved in publicizing Nebraska man, was knighted for his efforts in making known this fabulous find. When paleontologists returned to the site in 1928, they found the rest of the skeleton. And imagine now, and discovered the tooth belonged to an extinct pig. So they sold this tooth as part of an ape man, sort of in the middle figure, but it was an extinct pig. And they found 3 years later. In 1972, living specimens of the same pig were found in Paraguay. So it's unbelievable what has gone around as proof and has been disproved over time, even 3 years later. And then in 1938, there was a coelacanth discovered. It was once an index fossil used to date a sedimentary strata. Evolutionists declared it as having been dead for 70 million years. Their strata theory was correct. If their strata theory was correct, no living specimen could occur, since no coelacanth fossil had been found in the millions of years of higher strata. But then, in December 25, 1938, a trawler fishing off South Africa brought up one that was 5 feet in length. More were found later. So many other discoveries have disproved the evolutionist fossil strata theories. Even living creatures like the tribulite have been found. So what evolutionists say, look, this is so many millions of years old, and now you find it today. And now what do? Well, you have to debunk the theory or that thing of the part of the thing. So they more than once they have to change and to just discard what they first put out as proof or indication that there was evolution. Radiocarbon dating. This is a method where C14 is used for radiocarbon dating. So the concentration of C14 diminishes over time, and you can have a formula and then calculate back with a lot of assumptions. The assumptions are that there is no C14 coming into the system from the outside, or it is a closed system. It has constant decaying rates and all of that. So there's about 7 prerequisites for that at least to be true, and all are on shaky ground. But then they dated organic material, and they found out that they could prove by another way that it was much younger, and so they could not stay with that method as reliable. And this is and some of it is not corrected and some of it is so it's not consistent science really. There is a link on the accuracy of radiocarbon dates, and it's in Geochronicle. It's quite an old publication from 1966, but already then they had found flaws in that dating method.
I have to check. Can I just interrupt for a moment? Yeah, it's too bad, but our time is almost up. Now, in the light of everything you shared, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable that things can be like puzzled together and people believe it for so many years and have no self-worth in themselves because they are just,
the whole sum of this is you can check this out for yourself, and you can check more and deeper, but the whole sum of this is if you are not evolved but created by a loving God with a unique design and also a unique purpose for your life, and with a future that goes beyond your physical death, then it makes all the difference to find this God who so loved the world that he sent his son Jesus to save you from your sins and have communion with him. And so that is also so important as a conclusion for this.
I'm sorry, I apologize, but you have to finish now. Yeah. I'm trying to sign it. Thank you so much for watching. This was our part 1 of the episode, Wonderfully Created, and I hope you join us for part 2. And thank you so much, Dr. Franz-Josef Krämer. I'm so sorry I have to interrupt you like this, but I have to. Goodbye. See you next week.
The preceding program was brought to you by the Holy Spirit Broadcasting Network, HSBN Television.